Good evening, councillors, staff, Councillor McDonald, who's online, and to the ladies and gentlemen in the gallery. Please be seated while Councillor Griffiths delivers the blessing. Thank you.
Thank you. Could I ask you to bow your heads while we pray to the Lord? Father, be with us tonight while we make good decisions for the people we serve. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Councillor Griffiths. The City of Gosnells respectfully acknowledges the Whadjuk Noongar people as the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet, and we pay our respects to their elders, both past and present. It is now 7:03 and I declare the meeting open. Members of the public are cautioned against taking any action on council decisions on items in which they may have an interest until such time as they have seen a copy of the minutes of the meeting or have been advised in writing by city staff. Thank you. No announcement, visitors. Record of attendance. We have a couple of leave of absences, I believe. I think I'm missing a leave of absence for Councillor Patterson, yes. It does. Disclosure of interest for Mr Cowie. He's got an interest in agenda item number 13.5.7 on page 67, which is a direct financial interest. It is his performance review. Thank you. Announcement of presiding members. No announcements. So the reports from delegates. Thank you. Any reports? Councillor Betts, thank you.
Madam Mayor and councillors, while I was on leave from council, I did via Zoom or WebEx, whatever it was, attend the Rivers Regional Council special meeting that was held on Thursday the 16th of March along with Councillor Dewhurst, and it was a very short meeting, but in essence there's an issue with the delay in the construction of the waste-to-energy plant, and just to work through some of the legal issues, it was agreed to defer things until our 20th of April meeting. I'm not sure I fully understand all the legal implications, but if we didn't agree to extending the date for finishing, it would automatically trigger some kind of dispute, which would then involve the banks that are financing and all that, and we didn't want that to happen. So we've agreed to extend until the 21st of April, and we've got a meeting on the 20th of April where we'll consider all the details. So just in case people read anything about it in the media or anything, that's basically, it was a procedural meeting, I guess, in effect, to give time to look at the implications for trying to move forward constructively, because the builder and Acciona are in some kind of disagreement as to whether enough COVID is enough reason to justify the delay, etc., and before the penalty clauses come in and all that sort of thing. So it's a little bit complicated. I'm not sure I fully understand it, but I'm sure it'll become much clearer at our meeting on April the 20th. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Betts. Any further reports? Councillor Good, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councillors, the Joint Development Assessment Panel met twice in the last fortnight. Councillor Williamson and myself attended those via the Zoom. On the 21st of March, there was an approval for a facility worth $11 million. It was a truck fabrication at 624 Bickley Road in Maddington, which is part of the Mooksy 1. You'll be pleased, not only did it get approved, but there's scope there for 50 employees, which I thought was great. It'll be a workshop building with a floor area of in excess of 5,000 square metres. This morning, we met via Zoom again, and this time there was an approval for a warehouse development worth $15 million at 146 Maddington Road in Maddington. This is being a warehouse development, met all the guidelines for a planning framework, and that one will employ up to 60 people. So two rather large employment opportunities coming our way, so that was good for the Joint Development Assessment Panel. And on another note, completely unrelated, but it's to do with history and heritage, and I thought you all may want to hear this or read this. The sad passing of an icon in the city of Gosnells with a Teresa, this time a Teresa Passmore, otherwise known as Tess Passmore. She was born on 20th of June 1922. She was 100 years old, so had 100 years. Now, what's impressive about her life is the fact that they're mentioned so many times in the Gosnells story, the Passmore family. They are literally everywhere in that book, and they're everywhere around here. And just to really put a connection to the world, tonight's agenda is about preserving Fagent's Way Reserve. Would you believe Albie Passmore, his father was Ivor Passmore, and he married Sissy Fagents. So I'm guessing it's probably named after Sissy Fagents, or it could have been a David Fagents who was born in 1871. Having said that, with Tess passing away, Tess was the former wife of Albie Passmore, and this learned gentleman to my right, Dave Griffiths, was mayor at the time in 2014 when Albie passed away. So it's the end of an era with the Passmore family in terms of these two. Now with Ivor and, I should say with Albie and Tess, they had 4 children. Several of them are extremely well-known and prominent. One's on 6PR radio, and of course you've heard of Neville Passmore, the gardening guru. So massive family connection in the city of Gosnells, hence why I'm mentioning it under the history and heritage. And it might be worthwhile even knowing that Albie's father, Ivor, ran a green grocery store in 1920s, and that was on Albany Highway right next door to Good Sammy's, and it was called H.I. Passmore and Sons. And of course, Albie and Tess has just passed away, they had a shop called Blossoms Nursery on Gosnells Road, in Gosnells on Ashley Street. So just thought I'd mention that, an amazing history that the Passmore has as part of the Gosnells story. Thank you for your indulgence.
Thank you for sharing that, Councillor Good. Any further reports from delegates? No? Thank you. Question times from the public. So we have got several questions here. So what have we got? First question is Mrs. Sandra Barriolo from Victoria Road in Kenwick. If you would like to come forward, Mrs. Barriolo.
Thank you. I've got 4 questions, but I'm happy to sit down and let everyone have a go. Okay, my first question. Is it true that the City of Gosnells is aware that the number of the commercial vehicles that are accessing Bickley Road and or Victoria Road are over length?
Thank you, Mrs. Barriolo. I'll ask Director for Infrastructure, Mr. Martin Glover, to answer your question.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Mayor. The City is aware, and based on recent traffic survey results, it understands that approximately 1% of all trucks that use Bickley Road are oversized and therefore illegal. The City currently doesn't have any direct data for Victoria Road. However, we would imagine it would be the same, and this has been reported through to Main Roads.
I'm still waiting for that report, by the way. Question 2. Is it true the City of Gosnells is aware that the road infrastructure on Victoria Road and or Bickley Road is not suitable or up to the correct standard for commercial vehicle use?
Thank you. I'll again ask the Director for Infrastructure to answer your question. Thank you.
Through you, Madam Mayor, both Victoria Road and Bickley Road currently meet the minimum standard in terms of road width based on current adjacent land use.
You might want to read the email from Main Roads today then.
Thank you, Mrs. Barriolo. Next
Question 3. Has the City of Gosnells done a swept path assessment for the RAV category for commercial vehicle access on Bickley Road turning into Victoria Road in accordance with Main Road infrastructure?
Thank you, Mrs. Barriolo. Again, I'll ask the Director to answer your question. Thank you.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I can confirm that the City has completed swept path analysis for as-of-right vehicles using this intersection.
Can I ask your 4th question, Mrs. Barriolo?
Thank you. Question 4. The RAV category chart has been sent through. Is it true that the blue lines on the map show that the approved roads for Category 3 RAVs, the section of Bickley Road you refer to, and Victoria Road are not approved for RAV3s as shown by all the photos that I've sent you over the last week?
Thank you, Mrs. Barriolo. Director Glover, if you could answer that, please.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Mayor. The City is aware there is one business on Victoria Road that has a RAV permit, so there is one eligible company operating in Victoria Road at the moment. Any oversized vehicles beyond this property should be reported to Main Roads WA Heavy Vehicle Section, who are the state authority to manage and enforce heavy vehicles. When the city has been given photos, it has referred them onto Main Roads, who have acted in accordance with their capability. The city has also provided their Main Roads with contact details to assist residents if they have asked.
Okay, again, you might
Thank
want to
you,
read
Mrs.
the email
Barriolo.
from Main Roads because that's different to what I've got in writing
Thank you.
today.
The next question is from Tanya Atkinson from 127 Anaconda Drive in Gosnells. Can you come forward? Oh, you need this? Please.
My question is, why did the council allow the destruction of the known black cockatoo roost on 1516 Leslie Street, Southern River, when it was registered in 2019 as a roost? How did the council accept that the consultant's view that there was no roost there when it has been included in the Great Cocky Count yearly?
Thank you, Mrs. Atkinson. I'll ask the Director for Planning, Mr. Chris Terrelink, to answer your question.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. When the subdivision was proposed, the application was lodged with the WA Planning Commission and the city was invited to comment, which is normal. And the city advised of caution about trees on the land, suspecting there might be a roost, and recommended a condition of approval be applied, which would have allowed the trees to be fenced off so that they would be protected. The WA Planning Commission didn't take up that condition on the approval when it approved the subdivision, so presumably it analysed that issue. Later on, the consultants came to do their earthworks for the subdivision. We're liaising with the council, and once again we reminded them that they may have obligations under the EPBC Act, and they then went away and did their own investigations there. The city is not an expert on this legislation and the council are not empowered to enforce it. So the legislation sheet's home at the Commonwealth level, and the best we can do is advise people that they need to make sure they comply with those requirements.
Thank you, Ms. Atkinson. Have you got a next question?
Yes. Is the council aware that the verge adjacent to that site, the trees were removed 2 days later and that the cockies had moved there? Why did the council allow it? And if they didn't, why? What are they doing about it? Can we please have the answers in writing? Thank you.
Now, as well as in writing, yes. Director, thank you.
Madam Mayor, there was verge trees were shown on the clearing plan for parts of that land, but we can provide the answers in writing. If questions are answered here, they'll also be in writing in the minutes anyway.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Atkinson. The next question is Dr. Tony Avis from 10 Hadlow Place in Thornley. Sorry? Oh, okay.
So my questions are also about the continued destruction of known black cockatoo roosts and habitat. Are all councillors aware that the EPA were not notified, nor clearing permits applied for through the EPA for lots 1798 Mattison Street and lot 1516 Leslie Street? They would have investigated if applied for, as they told us it was an ESA, an environmentally sensitive area, unless exemptions existed, such as Section 8, which means that any area already designated urban or urban deferred does not require any application under environmental laws.
Okay, I will get the director to answer that question. Thank you. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I need to take that on notice. Thank you.
Take that on notice. It'll be printed in the minutes as well as you'll get it in writing.
Okay.
Thank you. You have another question?
Are the councillors aware that all of the Perth Peel region is designated urban or urban deferred, so no habitat is protected? And do Gosnells Council have any concerns that they may be allowing breaches of the EPBC Act 1999?
I'll ask the director to respond to that. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, just to clarify, the entire metropolitan region isn't zoned urban or urban deferred, so there's an error in the question there. So I think it's best we take that on notice, clarify the background in writing as well as the answer for Dr Avis.
Perhaps I should have said almost all, except a few parks, which is not enough.
Thank you for your questions. Next question is from Wendy Blake from 25 Elvington Way. Will you come forward, Mrs Blake? You need yours as well? Thank you.
My question is about urban canopy and the protection of trees in our neighbourhoods. Are the councillors aware that as we meet, the City of Nedlands is meeting to vote on the incorporation of a local government law which protects mature age trees that have dimensions that allow them to provide habitat for local endogenous fauna and canopy to shade and so cool neighbourhoods, and which are a regular feature, note, regular feature of local government areas in the eastern states?
Thank you for your question. I'll get I had actually heard of this, and I think it's on private land as well. So
Yes.
we are aware of it. It is a local law though, so we will have to wait and see if the state government allow that local law. So, but we are aware of it. Thank you for the question. Next question.
Question 2. So if the government does allow this law, and I wasn't aware that they had to agree to allow this law, I thought it was like up to the local government area, is the City of Gosnells, our council, able to get on board with the conservation mentality and legislate the same kind of law to protect mature age trees in the City of Gosnells?
I would just let you know that we are keen to preserve trees, so we will be watching that very closely. And also, for the interest of the people that have asked questions around the black cockatoos, we've actually got an urgent item of business coming up at number 15 in the agenda tonight, which is for an investigation into the clearing of the black rooster at Cockatoo site. So that'll be coming up later tonight, just so you know. Thank you.
May I ask, where is that site?
Site that's have been mentioned today.
I see.
Thank you. Public statement time. The first public statement is from Rajiv from 6 Flowerfield Loop in Southern River, and it's regarding item number 13. What item number is that? Item number 13.2.1. Rajiv, could you come forward with your statement, please? Thank you.
Well, dear Council, thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity to talk about my developmental application. That's okay. I'm sure you have all the relevant information at hand already, but I thought I'll just add a few personal touches myself to it. Unfortunately, when we moved into our house, the garden is awkwardly shaped and awkwardly sized, so it's not very functional. There's 2 things I'm particularly passionate about when it comes to buildings or developments. 1, it's aesthetics, and 2, it's its functionality. The second thing is, as a GP, I'm very passionate about health and well-being. Because of our awkwardly shaped garden and size of it, the storage is very, very poor. We only have a very small colorbond shed on one side, which is just enough to house a few tins of paint and some tiles, not very functional at all. The plan later this year is to do a lap pool, and in order to accommodate that, I need an appropriate sized storage unit, which has a couple of functions. One is to house large household items, whether that might be bikes or camping equipment, but even more importantly, to house the pool pump. This will be solidly built and will mask the sound from the pool pump. As I mentioned, I'm into my health and well-being. So the other plan on the south-east side is to have a sauna and a unit for a cold therapy area. This is a relatively minor development. It is 2.4 metres in height and 2.2 metres in depth, so will have minimal effect on the streetscape. I'm very conscious of that and its effect to the neighbours. The boundary wall is an important thing. It is only 1.8 metres high and offers minimal privacy from the opposite neighbours, which has a two-storey house. So I would very much like to increase this by 20 centimetres. This will allow for more privacy around the pool area and around the sauna area as well. Fortunately, I have very kind neighbours who have given their consent for my planning proposals. As you can see, you've got the consent letters there probably. I can rest assure you that I've already sourced a highly reputable building company that can do all the projects already, and also a landscaping company. I do not believe any of this will significantly affect the streetscape. Again, I'm very conscious of my neighbourhood, serving the community. It will be rendered to look like essentially extension of the house and built to a very good quality. I believe that this overall will add to the resaleability of the house and make it extremely functional, as currently it's just impractical. Having a 1.5 metre setback from the secondary street boundary wall will reduce the storage unit by over half where the shed is. This will hardly have any space to house anything hardly in there. I don't think it will even house the pool pump, to be honest. And also additionally on the other side, on the southeast side, where the cold unit would be.
Thank you,
again,
Mr Rajiv. Your time's up. If you just want to do a closing sentence, I'll be happy with that. Thank you.
I hope you understand where I come from both aesthetics and functionality, and I really hope you share the same vision I do and help me with this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is from Mr Ken Ashwin from got no address here. He's from Forest Lakes.
Yes. Madam Mayor and Councillors, my name is Ken Ashwin. I'm the initiator of this petition. Thank you for your opportunity to make my submission for an all abilities playground to be erected at Forest Reserve, Forest Lakes in Thornley. I've lived in Forest Lakes for nearly 38 years, and it seems that whenever recreational facilities are constructed by council, Forest Lakes seems to have been leapfrogged to the advantage of other parts of the community. In saying that, I do not begrudge other localities benefiting from the City of Gosnells All Abilities Playground Facility Program. I believe all localities within the City of Gosnells should enjoy the same facilities regardless. Firstly, I would submit that an All Abilities Playground at Forest Reserve is an ideal location for this type of community facility. The current infrastructure at Forest Reserve, other known as Forest Crescent Reserve, could be incorporated into an All Abilities Playground facility and reduce the cost of a complete rebuild. Innovative planning could reduce the cost of the facility, and savings could be directed to additional facilities at the location which are essential to a fully functional playground. Secondly, the advantage of having the All Abilities Playground at Forest Reserve is that this facility would be within walking distance of over 600 residences and their residents, largely in a 500 metre radius, making it easy access by foot. There are over 600 children who could utilise it on an almost daily basis who are students at Forest Crescent Primary School. A number of these students live locally and walk to and from school. Thirdly, for those who need to use the vehicle, there is sufficient parking with 16 parking bays along Red Hart Drive, as well as access to a car park at the Forest Crescent Primary School, which has another 16 parking bays and is accessible on weekends, not being denied access by barriers. These 32 car bays are dedicated parking bays, which would not affect traffic flow for local residents. All of these car parks are within 50 to 100 metres from the proposed development. This location, unlike a number of others, is located within an area that is totally surrounded by dwellings, in particular Tom Bateman Reserve, Walter Padbury Park and Mills Park, while having some housing nearby, do not come anywhere near the number of residences within a 500 metre radius that Forest Reserve has, an ideal location hands down. If the development is approved, I submit that for an all abilities playground facility to be successful and convenient for people who use it, there is a need for toilet facilities. The facility at Forest Reserve would also benefit where there are barbecue facilities and shelters. Members of the surrounding community could make a day out without having to rush their children themselves off to access essential facilities. Ideally, the sooner this facility is constructed, the better. I do, however, understand the council's resources are limited, but I submit that this development, if not provided for in the 2023-24 budget, should be definitely in the 24-25 budget, and I hope the councillors on council at that point in time would support that. I hope the wisdom of the councillors will recognise that this is not only a desired location as evidenced by the over 300 signatories
Mr
to the
Ashwin, I'll
petition.
just give you one line to close off because your time's up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let me see. Okay. I thank you for your patience and attention to my submission and now leave it in your hands to hopefully approve this petition tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Ashwin. I now ask Mr Colin Hall from 4 Matilda Street in Huntingdale to come forward, and he wanting to speak on item number 6 point.
Hill, not Hall.
Item number 13.2.2, I believe.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lady Mayor. It's Colin Hill from 4 Matilda Street, not Hall. Might be my bad writing. But as a long-standing
It says Hill,
resident,
I just got it wrong. Sorry about that. Thank
that's
you.
all right. But as a long-standing resident of the city of Gosnells for 47 years, we built our house up there in Matilda Street, and I can't see any reason why we should have another liquor shop across the road. I've counted up 10 in our area where you can go and get liquor. We've had a lot of undesirables over there. It's enough putting up with the speeding traffic going down our street doing over 100 kilometres an hour. Now we've got to put up with these e-scooters all over the place. Plus we have drug deals over the car park. It's very hard to get number plates. If you ring the police, you've got to go on hold, and by the time they're already gone. And we've had a few people lately walking past drinking alcohol. Because we've got celebrations down the road, we've got Dan Murphy's, we've got BWS up in Forest Lakes, you've got Thorney Hotel, Liquorland, you've got lots of hotels around the area, and I just can't see why we should have another one. My wife and I really object to it, and I think a lot of the neighbours do too. So I just hope you could consider the amount of shops around the area and just think about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Hill. I now invite, I've actually got a public statement here from LK Advisories on behalf of Eastview. They're not here this evening, but this has been forwarded to all the councillors for their consideration on item number 13.2.5. I will now invite forward Mrs Sandra Barriolo regarding item number
13.5.4.
13.5.4. Thank you, Mrs Barriolo.
Thank you very much. Just want to say it's a well-written report and I would like to speak about it. So tonight I'm talking about the consultation of cat management. I believe all cats should be contained to the property in which they live. I also believe cats should be prohibited from environmentally sensitive areas to protect the native fauna. I also believe there should be an exclusion area around such sensitive areas. I do not believe financial assistance should be given to the property owner to modify or make cat containment. It is a sensitive area and it is part of responsible cat ownership. I believe local government should have the powers to deal with cats that are causing nuisances to local residents, specifically those cats that are causing trouble defecating in other people's gardens and or playgrounds. Toxoplasmosis is an extremely dangerous bacteria which is contained in cat faeces, which can cause severe health issues in human females, causing severe fertility issues. I don't believe residents should have to pay to hire traps to catch a stray cat, which is causing a nuisance. I do believe they should pay a deposit which is refundable at the time they bring the trap back. I don't believe it is reasonable to expect residents to transport cats to the cat management facility in Como, as you have to make an appointment, then go through a procedure showing where the cat was trapped, giving your name, address, driver's licence detail. The whole process takes about 45 minutes and then the time to drive there. I believe the cats that are trapped should go to the existing pound facility in Maddington for the City of Gosnells Rangers to deal with taking the cat to the cat management facility in Como. As someone who was in cat rescue, trapping and cat management and trapping of cats is not an easy, or nor is it easy as people seem to think. It can be extremely dangerous if you are bitten, scratched by a feral cat or a cat that is severely traumatised. As a cat breeder, I don't believe that the residents or ratepayers of the City of Gosnells should subsidise or modify properties to ensure that cats can be contained safely. I have spent a significant amount of money as a hobby cat breeder ensuring my cats are contained to my property at all times. My neighbours don't even know I have cats because they are never allowed to roam free ever. I've imported cats from USA, Germany and Canada as part of a responsible cat ownership, which are fully contained. I would support the City of Gosnells Council to advocate for amendments to the Cat Act to have it rewritten similarly like the dogs. They should be contained to the properties in which they live so that they cannot roam free. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs Barriolo. I'll now ask Aaron McDonald from Pragmar Lawyers to come forward on item 13.2.5. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and councillors. My name's Aaron McDonald. I'm a lawyer. I represent a landowner entitled to 60% of the reserve under item 13.2.5 of the agenda this evening, and I just wanted to say it's been a long time coming to get these resolutions that your staff members put forward. We obviously endorse those resolutions being made and implore the council to make them. I'd also just like to say, as a matter of public record, that if the council is minded to pass the resolutions that have been proposed by the member of staff within the city, if there could be some expediency to have those funds released as soon as possible, especially given that it's been well over 15 years since the funds were put into the contribution plan. That's all I wanted to say, Madam Mayor. If it's possible for that item to be pushed up the agenda in relation to item 11 on your agenda, I'd be also very grateful.
Thank you very much for that.
Thanks.
Okay. The confirmation of minutes. Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Adams, happy to move that. Councillor Betts to second that. Can I get councillors to please cast your vote if there are no questions? You have a question? Oh, we're going to be showing hands because Councillor McDonald is... Show of hands, please, for your vote. Thank you. Thank you. That is unanimous. Thank you. Receiving of petitions and presentations. There are none. Thank you. Applications for leave of absence. I have two here. Deal with them separately. Yeah, better deal with them. I think we'll deal with them both together if councillors don't have any objections. I have one from Councillor Dewhurst, who's seeking a leave of absence from council from the 12th of the 3rd, 2023 to the 19th of the 3rd, 2023, which has already happened, hasn't it? Okay, from the 12th of the 4th, the 12th of the 4th, 2023 to the 19th of the 4th, 2023, which will include no council meetings and is for personal reasons. And the other leave of absence is for Councillor Sarah Patterson, who is seeking a leave of absence from council from the 14th of the 3rd to the 28th of the 3rd. The 14th of the 3rd to the 26th of the 3rd, which includes council meetings on the 14th of the 3rd and the 28th of the 3rd, and that is for personal reasons. Can I get a mover for those, please? Councillor Williamson, happy to move it. Deputy Mayor to second it. If there are no objections, if you could please cast your vote. Thank you. Thank you, councillors. That has been carried. There are no questions of which due notice has been given. And hold 1 second, thank you. I'll just move through the agenda as it's written. The first item is item number 13.2.1, which is the development application for the single house additions at 6 Lot 854 Flowerfield Loop in Southern River. Deputy Mayor Hort is happy to move that. Councillor Zhang is happy to second that. Is there any questions or debate on this item, councillors? No? Can you please cast your vote? Thank you. Thank you, councillors. That has been carried. Dr Rajiv, to let you know that has been passed and carried, and the council staff will be in touch with you. Thank you. Moving on to item number 13.2.2, that's the development application for the change of use, shop-to-shop and incidental liquor store at 72 Lot 112 Wharton Road, Huntingdale. Can I get a mover for this, please? Deputy Mayor Hort is happy to move it. Councillor Adams to second it. Deputy Mayor Hort, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd been a councillor about 3 weeks when I received an email from a gentleman in Huntingdale, it may have been Mr Hill, saying you've approved yet another liquor place in Huntingdale and happy to do it, but now I'm cleaning up smashed glass from the footpath every day because of what you've done. And I thought, goodness, that was before my time on council. And I felt like I, couldn't have made any difference there. But this is certainly a different instance. And when it comes to planning and what we consider in planning, unfortunately, we are not allowed to consider whether or not there are too many liquor stores when considering a liquor store, if there are too many gyms when considering a gym, etc. But it does, we are still human, and it does still have that impact on us. And so when I look at this particular item, the bit that gives me some comfort is that we have a Filipino supermarket with a small little area that's going to sell Filipino liquor. It goes with the bespoke model of business that's occurring there, should have a limited footprint, and that gives me some comfort in approving this here tonight. This isn't just another liquor store, it is something much more niche than that, and I'm hoping we don't get an email from someone who's sweeping up the footpath because of alcohol coming from this place. I trust it will be treated with more respect than that. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Hort. Councillor Adams, did you have anything as a seconder? No? Councillor Good, thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor, and totally concur with the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Hort's comments. Matter of fact, when you look at the agenda and reading the planning framework, we don't have that authority, and as Councillor Williamson and I both being on the Joint Development Assessment Panel, we have to look at these issues every time about making a decision, and it's not up to us to work out what can be built and what can be done, and if there's too many, whether it be liquor stores or fast food outlets, we have no authority on what people wish to do. This is simply a decision about, if up to liquor licensing, will they actually grant the licence? Rather than that, it's not within the framework. So I agree with your comments, Deputy Mayor, Councillor Hort. It's not relevant. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Good. Are there any further debate or questions? Did you have anything further, Deputy Mayor? Okay, councillors, would you please cast your vote? Thank you. Thank you, councillors. That has been carried and passed. Thank you. Moving on to item number 13.2.3, the development application for the outbuilding at 95 Lot 41 Atfield Street in Maddington. Can I get a mover for this, please? Councillor Dewhurst to move this, Councillor Baines to second it. Councillor Dewhurst, would you like to speak to this item? Councillor Baines? Anyone else? No? Thank you, councillors. If you please cast your vote. Thank you. That has been carried. Moving on to item number 13.2.4, the development application for the change of use, the warehouse to recreation private at 1967 Lot 23 Albany Highway, Maddington. Can I get a mover? Councillor Williamson's happy to move this. Councillor Betts to second. Councillor Williamson, do you have any? Councillor Betts? Anybody else? Deputy Mayor Hort, thank you.
Madam Mayor, I just want to speak in support of this item. I think it's a wonderful and welcome addition to the area. We know that cheerleading is a community sport. It's a sport in its own right as well. As I was reading through this agenda item, my wife reminded me she's a national champion in cheerleader. I completely forgot about that. So it would be remiss of me not to mention it here tonight. So in support of this, I know she, in her own personal experience, found it to be a wonderful community and a great sport to be a part of. So looking forward to welcoming them to Maddington.
I thought about adding to that, but I won't, thank you. Other than to say that my son was into cheerleading as well, and we went to America for World Cheers, and it was amazing. So anyway, anyone else? Deputy Councillor Good, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. For a moment I was going to do a point of order about a conflict of interest, but for the Deputy Mayor, but no such conflict of interest. No, I concur with his comments too. What a great innovative business for the area. I thought that's absolutely marvellous. I'm looking forward to this if it gets passed. It'll be truly innovative for the area.
Thank you, Councillor Good. Are there any further questions, debate? No? Councillors, will you please cast your vote? Thank you, councillors. That has been carried. There's some very happy people in the gallery by the looks of it on that. Moving on to 13.2.5, the closure of the West Canning Vale Development Contribution Plan. Can I get a mover? Deputy Mayor Hort to move that. Councillor Aaron Adams to second that. Deputy Mayor Hort, have you got any debate? Councillor Adams? Anybody else? No? Councillors, if you could please cast your vote. Thank you. Thank you, councillors. That has been carried. Those in the gallery, if you've heard your item, you are welcome to leave. You don't have to stay, but you are more than welcome to stay as well. I made them stay. So anyway, that last item was carried. Item number 13.3.1, the report on petition, request for an all abilities playground and barbecue at Forest Crescent Reserve in Thornley. Can I get a mover for this, please? Everybody's got their hand up. Deputy Mayor Hort, seconded by Councillor Williamson. Thank you. Any comment or debate on this item? 1 second. Do you have anything? No? Councillor Dewhurst. Did I miss one? No? Okay then. Any questions or debate on 13.3.1? No? Councillor Good.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think that this report, by the way, a very well drafted report and great comments and great research done on this. I thought it was excellent. I'm looking forward to the fact that the actual report is about receiving it and that we do some future thinking, particularly once the existing all abilities playgrounds that we've had built and the new ones coming on are actually completed. I'll be curious to see what the research shows once it's all done in terms of can we look at a new one. One thing worthwhile knowing, of course, is that it is a neighbourhood park, and according to my own little individual research, we've got 36 of them in Thornley. And what I was noting was the fact that the allocation of scarce resources at $400,000 per pop, arguably, for these all abilities playgrounds. It's not easy to put them all in a row. I made a point at our pre-briefing that we've done, well, basically there would be 11, and all of a sudden when they're built, do we consider any more? And it's about, again, that allocation of funding. Do we do 1, 2, 3 in the next round, whether it could be 2, 3 or 4 years away? This area, obviously, is an interesting part of Thornley, and I do declare a former conflict of interest because I lived very close to there up until about 6 months ago, but I now live in Canning Vale. So I used to walk this area all the time, so I know it very, very well indeed. But it's worthwhile noting that I think we've maintained 369 areas of public open space in our city, or 1,082 hectares. So the more we grow as far as more allocation of public open space, it means we have to have more staff to manage them and maintain them. So I'll be curious to see how the report comes in the future once we've actually completed the existing ones and whether we can actually fund it all. From a point of view of public open space, worthwhile knowing that Canning Vale, where I now live, has, according to my knowledge, 15% of public open space, Langford 20%, Thornley has 11%, and of course it was originally gazetted in 1955 that we all had to have a minimum of 10% from the Stevenson report. So I'll be looking forward to the future in terms of when it comes back to council. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Good. Any further questions or debate on this item? Councillors, if you please cast your vote. Thank you, councillors. That has been carried. Moving on to 13.3.2, the report on a petition for installation of a basketball half court at Westfield Street Reserve in Maddington. Can I get a mover for this? Councillor David Good, seconded by Councillor Griffiths. Councillor Good, have you got anything to say to this item?
Actually, I do. I'm actually really pleased about this, particularly in light of recent media about metropolitan councils not wanting to put up basketball courts, and here we are thinking about let's do a basketball half court. So, well done. I hope we pass it tonight because I'm really pleased about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Griffiths, did you have anything? And Deputy Mayor Hort?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Many councillors may not know the origins of this, but I'm racking my brain at the moment because I can't remember her name, but a young lady came to me, a mother of 3 or 4 children, and said, you know, when my kids go and play at the skate park, they don't necessarily have skateboards or are interested in skateboards, and so they get up to mischief because, you know, their mates are there and they don't know what else to do. She said there needs to be something else there, and she recommended a basketball half court. And so it was actually the first time I'd ever recommended someone use the electronic petition. I'm not sure I'll do it again, to be honest, because I didn't get a heap of traction, but I really appreciate the city's gone out and asked the local community to make sure they're happy with it, and overwhelmingly the response is a positive one. So I just wanted to give a call out to Zoe and Jane and Leah, who helped with the petition and rallying the local community.
And Naomi O'Keefe?
Yes, Naomi, that's right as well. Sorry, Naomi. I'm sure she's not listening. So yeah, I'm absolutely in support of this. I think it's a welcome addition to a fantastic little youth space that we have there in Maddington, sorely needed and in support.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor. I've actually got an amendment to this item. If councillors indulge me, that I, Councillor Teresa Lyons, propose the following, that the staff recommendation be amended to read that council requests the Chief Executive Officer to include the installation of a basketball court at Westfield Street Reserve in the 23-24 budget, and for the following reasons: to make it clear that council supports the request for the installation of a basketball half court in Westfield Street Reserve. Can I get a seconder? Councillor Good to second that. And what further have I got to say other than this area is looking to have an overhaul to the shopping centre. So I think if we do our part and improve the field, the sporting, you know, the park next door, I think that'll be a great asset to the community there in Maddington. Councillor Good, did you have anything to say to this item? Thank you.
I concur.
Thank you, Councillor Good. Any further comment or? No? Councillors, if you please cast your vote on the amendment. Thank you. Thank you, councillors. That has been carried, and we'll put that back together with the original item. And is there any further comment on that or debate? No? Councillors, if you could please cast your vote. Thank you. Thank you, councillors. That has been carried. Moving on to item number 13.3.3, which is the report on a petition for a request for Fagents Way Reserve in Thornley to remain permanently as a park. Can I get a mover for this, please? Councillor Dewhurst, seconded by Councillor Karen Baines. Councillor Dewhurst, thank you.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Yeah, look, it's a little park put in the end of the cul-de-sac onto an arterial road, but not a major road, but a road that gets used by cars, obviously. I'm not sure what to call it. But anyway, look, it's it could be like a forgotten little gem, but it's got water, it's got beautiful trees, it's got a lot of good cockatoo trees hanging around there. It's got bottle brush. It's the parks team are doing a wonderful job out there. Just a couple of things they've actually asked for to just have a look at, which I failed to mention when I brought the petition forward, was that they were asking if we could have a look at the lights. There's power there as well. If we could have a look at the light that goes on, because it's not shining the right way for when the kids are playing inside the park at night. So that comes on each night. And also if they could have doggy poo bags in there as well. They do have a bin, and so if we could just maybe consider that, that'd be wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Good. Any further questions? Yep, Dewhurst, sorry. I was so used to you getting up, Councillor Good, that I got confused. I'm so sorry. Councillor Dewhurst, sorry. Any further questions or on this item? If you could please cast your vote. Thank you. Thank you, that has been carried. Moving on to item number 13.3.4, the purchase of land at 31 Lot 2, Kenwick Road, Kenwick. Can I get a mover for this? Councillor Betts to move this, and Councillor Zhang to second it. Councillor Betts, do you have any Councillor Zhang? Anyone else? No? Thank you. Councillors, if you please cast your vote. Thank you, councillors. That has been carried. Moving on to item number 13.5.1, the financial activity statement for February 2023. Deputy Mayor Hort to move that and Councillor Adams to second that. Is there any questions on this item, councillors? No? If you could please cast your vote. Thank you, councillors. That has been carried. Moving on to item 13.5.2, the payment of accounts for February 2023. Can I get a mover for this, please? Councillor Dewhurst, seconded by Councillor Adams. Thank you. Any questions on... Oh, Councillor McDonald, I didn't see your hand there. So sorry. Can I get councillors to please cast their vote? Thank you. Thank you, councillors. That item has been carried. We've got item number 13.5.3, the mid-year budget review for the period ending the 31st of January 2023. Can I get a mover for this, please? Councillor Griffiths, thank you for that, and Deputy Mayor Hort seconded. Is there any questions on this item? Deputy Mayor Hort, thank you.
No questions, Madam Mayor, but I know obviously there's a very significant investment in, or $35,000 in the intersection of Victoria and Bickley Road. I think it's worthwhile putting on the record that, you know, to bring Victoria Road to an industrial standard, the estimates that we were informed by the city of were about $7.34 million for Victoria Road to be brought to an industrial standard. And to bring it to a temporary solution kind of required width with no services and really just a short-term pavement solution over $500,000, and that's not recoverable if the big industrial road goes in. So I think that's worth being on the record because obviously there's a lot of debate around Victoria Road and the complexity there in this kind of peri-industrial area, and I think this $35,000 is money well spent in making sure that that intersection's heading in the right direction. That's it from me, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any further questions on this item? Thank you, councillors. If you please cast your vote. Thank you. That has been carried. Moving on to 13.5.4, the report on community consultation on cat management. Can I get a mover? Councillor Dewhurst is happy to move this. Councillor McDonald to second this. Councillor Dewhurst, would you like to speak to this item? Councillor McDonald, do you have anything to say to this item? Anyone? I've actually got a proposed amendment to this item, if councillors will once again indulge me. Would you like me to read the whole thing out? Happy to. Okay, I'm sorry for the gallery, but this is quite long-winded. I, Teresa Lyons, propose the following: that the staff recommendation be amended as follows. 1, in staff recommendation 2 of 4, delete the words "and children's playground in parks," and includes provisions that allow the city to deal with cat causing a nuisance. 2, in staff recommendations 2 of 4, insert the following words after the words "limits the number of cats a person may keep, but provides for people to keep any cats that they currently own that are registered, microchipped and sterilised." 3, in staff recommendation 2 of 4, insert the following as a final dot point: specifies that in areas in close proximity to bush forever sites, conservation category wetlands, state and regional parks, sorry, that just threw me because I've got the old one there. Specifies that in areas close proximity to state and regional parks, bush forever sites and conservation category wetlands, portions of the premises on which a cat is kept must be enclosed in a manner capable of confining cats. 4, in staff recommendations 4 of 4, delete the words "rangers collecting cats trapped by residents or receiving trapped cats at the city's depot and transporting those cats to a cat management facility, and the city taking a more active role in trapping cats and dealing with cats causing a nuisance." 5, insert an additional part 5 which reads that the city requests the Chief Executive Officer to investigate the establishment of a temporary cat management facility at the city's existing pound, with the outcome of that investigation reported to council meeting on the 9th of 2023 for consideration. 6, insert an additional part 6 which reads that council commits to developing an educational program on responsible cat ownership that includes information on the importance of sterilisation, microchipping and registration, the environmental impacts of cats, and how to construct a cat enclosure in order to assist cat owners to understand the importance of containing their pets. The following recommendation reads as follows. Recommendation 1, that council receives this report on the results of community consultation in relation to cat management. Recommendation 2 of 6, that council requests the Chief Executive Officer to prepare a new local law that limits the number of cats a person may keep, but provides for people to keep any cats they currently own that are registered, microchipped and sterilised. Expands the area in which cats are prohibited to include state and regional parks, bush river sites and conservation category wetlands, and specifies that in areas close to state and regional parks, bush river sites and conservation category wetlands, a portion of the premises on which a cat is kept must be enclosed in a manner capable of confining cats. Recommendation 3 of 6, that council requests the Chief Executive Officer to prepare a position statement for consideration by council that advocates for amendments to the Cat Act 2011 that would require cats to be contained to the property on which they are ordinarily kept. Recommendation 4 of 6, that council supports and commits to including the required resources in its 2023-24 budget for an expansion of the city's approach to cat management to include lending cat traps free of charge to local residents to catch cats. Recommendation 5 of 6, that council requests the Chief Executive Officer to investigate the establishment of a temporary cat management facility at the city's existing pound, with the outcome of that investigation reported to the council meeting on 9th of May 2023 for consideration. Recommendation 6 of 6, that council commits to developing an educational program on responsible cat ownership that includes information on the importance of sterilisation, microchipping and registration, the environmental impact of cats, and how to construct a cat enclosure in order to assist cat owners to understand the importance of containing their pets for the following reasons. Expanding the city's approach to dealing with cats as recommended would result in an additional cost of approximately $390,000 in the 2023-24 financial year. This is equivalent to a 0.5% increase in rates and would come at a time when there will be significant pressure on the budget as a result of inflation running at over 7%. The city needs to be mindful of not adding to the cost of living pressures many ratepayers are already experiencing beyond what is absolutely necessary. The city could consider further changes to its approach to cat management in the future, but now is not the time to impose additional burden on ratepayers. I seek a seconder for my amendment, please. Councillor Williamson to second that, and I will continue to talk to that. Thank you. I've not talked enough yet. So, councillors, I have written a bit out on each and every one of them, so I have got a few points on, the fact is that we should absolutely be doing things that are totally necessary now in order to keep our rates down and not increase them. So I won't speak to each and every one of them, of the proposed changes. I'm just going to say this is about being practical and not wasting ratepayers' funds on things that cannot be effectively administered or governed. We know that we are including a cat management facility in the new ops centre, so several of the issues will be addressed at this time. We know that we always have to budget for improvements or changes in the city. With the recent rise in costs, we are already looking at a potential rate rise this financial year, so this is not the time to introduce impractical measures. We know what the state government said no to with our last local law, so we know what to advocate for going forward. And lastly, we know what we can practically implement now, so I ask that you do that by voting in favour of my amendment. Thank you, councillors. Is there any further debate on this item, or Councillor Williamson as a seconder? And then anyone else? Nothing, Councillor Williamson. Deputy Mayor Hort, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. You make a compelling case. They say when you come into a meeting you should have a strong opinion held loosely, and I've certainly got that here tonight. When I was elected as a voice in the local community, I never imagined I'd be passionate about cats. I think I've mentioned that before, but time and time again I'm sent pictures of dead cats on the side of the road that have been hit by someone's car. Elderly people complaining about cats getting in through their cat door to attack their cats. I've had complaints about cats killing local bandicoots down by the river and birds. Complaints about cats, defecating in sandpits and local parks and all sorts of things. And so it's hard not to start to become passionate about cats. And we speak often in these chambers and more broadly in local government about whose responsibility is it. You know, the state looks after crime and the Commonwealth looks after defence, and I'm sure they've got other responsibilities other than that. But you know what? I think cats and dogs fall well and truly within our mandate, and it's something that we need to act on. So I am in support of your amendment, Madam Mayor, and I don't think now's the time for it to be taken further with extra resources. I think there's going to be opportunity for us to potentially explore additional range of resources in the future, but for now I'm quite comfortable with where things sit. I think we're hamstrung by state legislation to a certain degree, but we still do have a range of powers available to us that we might not necessarily be accessing without extra range of resources. So I think this goes a long way in providing a cat management facility. I look forward to that report coming back to council. But I think just if there are any councillors here tonight wondering whether or not we should be more aggressive with our cat management, I want you to consider how many millions of dollars we spend on updating our rivers, maintaining the environment in our environmentally sensitive areas, and how little we spend in actually managing the cat problem in our city. We might spend $50,000 a year tops on trapping, and we spend millions, and we would have seen in our budget variation today, hundreds of thousands, even just on the Southern River, Canning Vale confluence. So it is time to spend a bit of money on this important issue, but I do agree that maybe it's not the right time to be looking at the ranges just yet. Every day our rangers do work very hard to keep dogs safe from cars, from other hazards, but they turn a blind eye to cats, and that's another really good reason that eventually I think we need to look at rangers having a more active role in cat management. I think that's all my points for today. I'll leave the rest of my debate around containment for another day, I think. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Hort. Councillor Betts and then Councillor Good. Thank you, Councillor Betts.
Thank you. I'm certainly supportive of the amendment. I just want to make the comment that I attended not the cat committee, what was a cat management breakfast at Fraser's. I think Deputy Mayor Hort was there with me, I think, if I remember correctly. And it was interesting hearing experts talking about the cat issue in terms of wildlife and so on. And one of the interesting things which we were told was that cats that are contained on the owner's property actually live 4 times as long as cats that wander around. And the public opinion polls in terms of where people are at, that was the fact that motivated far more people to actually contain their cats than the wildlife issue. The wildlife issue, unfortunately, only rated very low into people's motivation for containing their cats. So if we can, in the publicity material, also project this fact that cats apparently live 4 times longer if they are contained, that may motivate people because they love their pussy cat, and so to look after it. So I think that's just a useful bit of information. And I think the impression I got from the other local government representatives that were present at that meeting was that there is a groundswell now of views within local government that the Cat Act desperately needs amending. So I think we're not going to be on our own in advocating for updating the Cat Act. And I was in Parliament when we passed that Act, and I actually believed that the Act would have allowed us to do what we wanted to do, but the Delegated Legislation Committee took a different view, and that's why apparently the Act needs to be amended. So I strongly support the amendment and would like to see that happening. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Betts. Councillor Good, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think Councillor Betts stole a fair bit of what I was about to say, but well done, because I was echoing similar type comments. But I also want to congratulate the staff on the report, Councillor Hort, with your strong advocacy about the whole issue, and I'm very much supportive of your own amendment, Mayor Lyons. The detail, what I'm finding out, as you mentioned, Councillor Betts, was that the Cat Act obviously is just not purpose. But what I find interesting is the number of actual several state ministers I've spoken to about this. I think they're oblivious. They don't realise that this domestic cats are actually a major issue. So it's not just us at the City of Gosnells, but I will be very curious about what other local governments are doing in this space, and if we are taking such a strong leadership role, which is why I'm congratulating you for the initiative and for the research and all the questions and the consultation with people, is it may be a catalyst for other local governments banding together, seeing the research that we've done, because bear in mind, cats just don't stop at the boundary and go, oh, I can't go there. They're everywhere. So I'll be very curious how it happens and if there's any pressure put on the state government for the Cat Act itself. So I think it's a great initiative and that we can progress it and others may follow. So well done.
Thank you, Councillor Good. Councillor Dewhurst.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. It's, look, I agree totally and heartily.
Oh, no, oh, you moved it.
This is only on amendment. This is only on amendment.
Carry on as you were, thank you.
So I was kind of contemplating whether I could actually say this for closing it, but I don't think I could because it's bringing up new stuff. So, Madam Mayor, so yeah, so I wish we'd go stronger on the cats. I mean, I love our cat, and but it's a house cat, stays inside, doesn't go out anywhere. But the importance, and I'll talk about this later on, particularly on cockatoos, and we've had a significant amount of and a record number of red-tailed juvenile cockatoos from which are the forest reds coming through the centre, because what's happening is, and I'll talk about this later on the other motion about how the reds are moving to areas where they've never been before, the red nassos. And what's happened is the ravens are attacking them, pulling all their feathers out, and the young ones can't fly and can't get away from them. And what's happening is we're getting a number, or some of them have been rescued by people and coming into our centre, but also a lot are coming in with bite marks, not from dogs, would you believe, but cat bites, because they're all small little bites in the birds. But we also get given a number of dead ones as well that the cats have actually attacked. So I'd like to see this go a lot further, and maybe if we could show those images one day as a community to what the actual cats are doing out there to our wildlife, and not only just the cockatoos. I mean, I'm passionate about them, but the bandicoots, as mentioned, and all the other critters running around. So yeah, I do support this, but I'd like to see us go a lot stronger.
Thank you, Councillor Dewhurst. Councillor Williamson, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to speak in support of the amendment. I fully support everything that's in the proposal. I think it's really important that we do take the opportunity to enforce confinement within the environmentally sensitive areas. I think that's something we have power to do as a local government, and I don't think we should be waiting for the state to change the Cat Act. We should act on that now because we can. And the other part that I really thought was important was the education component, and I think it really aligns with what Councillor Betts was saying, that once you send that message out that this is for the cat's benefit, it is that real motivation. So if we want to affect change in the community, if we want people's behaviour to change, we have to make it something that they care about, and the change will happen for a benefit to them, not just for the environment. So I think if we go strong with the education campaign, it's very little cost, and it will have more impact than laws that we then have to try and enforce and follow up and come with significantly higher costs. So if we can have someone voluntarily put a cat enclosure in, voluntarily sterilise their cats, and that moves generation to generation, that's when we'll see the real impact. The local law coming in won't change anything overnight. So I think if we can get that message out there that this is to benefit cat owners and cats, as well as the greater community and the environment, will have greater success. So I'm in full support of this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Williamson. Is there any further? Councillor McDonald's, okay. I'll just quickly close then. Just regarding the issues that Deputy Mayor pulled up with, there's lots of issues with cats, and I don't deny that. I just think that once we have our own cat management facility, we'll be in a much better place to fund and navigate those issues with trapping cats and actually having somewhere to drop them off. So I just want to thank councillors for supporting the amendment, and I look forward to seeing the report come back on the cat management facility on the 9th of May, is it? Thank you. Okay, councillors, if you could please cast your vote. Thank you. Thank you, that has been carried. Now we put that back with the original item. Is there any further discussion or debate on the original item? No. Councillors, if you could please cast your vote. Thank you. Thank you, that has been carried. Okay, moving on to item number 13.5.5, the tender for 01-2023 road and drainage weed management. Councillor Griffiths to move that, Councillor Zhang to second that. Is there any questions or debate on this item, councillors? No, if you could please cast your vote. Thank you. Thank you, that has been carried. Item number 13.5.6, which is the tender for 2022, the minor civil works. Councillor McDonald to move that and Councillor Good to second that. Any questions or debate on this item? No. Thank you, councillors. Please cast your vote. Thank you, councillors. The Chief Executive Officer will leave the room for this item as he has a direct financial interest. Thank you, councillors. Item 13.5.7, which is the Chief Executive Officer Annual Performance Review for 2022. Councillor Dewhurst to move that, Deputy Mayor Hort to second that. Councillor Dewhurst, Deputy Mayor, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have we're very fortunate to have such a capable and experienced CEO in the City of Gosnells, and I obviously commend this and look forward to voting in the affirmative. But I also wanted to take the opportunity to thank the Council for the work that's been done in preparing the latest KPIs. I think we've seen a maturing of the KPIs and the way that we as a Council manage our CEO, which is probably the most important role that we have, and it's great to see these becoming more contemporary and matching what we want to do as a Council. So well done to the Council for really kind of quite significantly changing them, but also making them fit for purpose over the last 2 years.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Hort. Any further? No. Councillors, if you would like to cast your vote, thank you. Thank you, that has been carried. Off you go. No, just kidding. Thank you, Mr. CEO. That item was carried. Thank you. Item 14, motions of which previous notice has been given. There are none. There is an item at 15, which is urgent business, which is the... Sorry, can I just hold 1 second? Thank you. Okay, the item of urgent business, I do need a mover to bring this forward. Councillor Williamson's happy to bring this forward and Councillor Betts to second it. So, Councillor, if you could please cast your vote on bringing this item forward. Thank you, that has been carried. Then item number 15.1, which is the investigation into the clearing of the Black Cockatoo Roost site. Can I get a mover for this? Councillor Dewhurst, happy to move this. Councillor Baines, happy to second it. Councillor Dewhurst, thank you.
Yes, thanks, Madam Mayor. So on my previous speech or talk on the cats in regards to forest reds, I want to go back a little bit, a number of years, is that you've got red tails. They're called forest reds because they lived in the forest. That's where they used to live. And unfortunately, there's no forest there left because they're being pushed out via, over the years, from market gardeners to, orchardists through to mining and state deforestation. So they've had to move into areas where they don't normally move, and they've moved down to the larger parts of the Swan Coastal Plain. These birds aren't built for that. They're built for forests, and that's been the Jarry and the Carry forests. And what's happening is, as these birds move through, they're looking at different food sources from non-native trees and I can't think of the tree with the purple flowers. Kite bladder, yeah, sorry. So they're hitting them as well. But the thing is, it's not a great food source for them, for their bubs. It's not a great food source at all. It's not very nutritious for them, but it's something that they're only finding about eat. But also the Borden cockatoos. Borden cockatoos are epidemic to, again, to the forests, and they are a particularly jarrah and a carry bird only. They do eat banksia and stuff like that, but mainly in the jarrah and carry forests and the banksias woodlands around the sides. And they're being pushed out of the forests and pushed down to the Swan Coastal Plain. And people would say, well, hang on, redtails and the Bordens, which are white-tailed cockatoos, have been on here, been on the Swan Coastal Plain for many, many years. They have been, and that's because we've been for many, many years doing the wrong thing and deforestation and such. We've been, as another hat that I wear in an organisation, I rescue, rehabilitate and release of black cockatoos, been around for nearly 17, 18 years as an organisation. We've been monitoring different roost sites. And this particular roost site on the corner of Leslie and Madison Street that we refer to for the investigation has been one that we've been keeping an eye on. And that is not only a roost site as a temporary roost site, or it's not only just a seasonal roost site, it's actually a roost site 12 months of the year now, and not with the white-tailed cockatoos, but with the Nassau cockatoos, most certainly. But there are Carnabies and Bordens that actually do frequent that area when they do come down to Swan Coastal Plain from when they're breeding up and around the wheat belt and down south, and they come through. So, as an organisation, we've been actually looking at that roost site for a release, as a release site with Carnaby cockatoos. We've got a Carnaby cockatoo release coming up soon, or we did have. And then to hear a resident ring me up who's been monitoring the site for us, and other residents as well, to say that the roost site's gone. I couldn't believe it. And first thing, my horror was, where did I miss it as a councillor? I thought it'd come through council and we approved it. And I was in absolute dry horror, but I thought, well, if that's the case, I'll fall on my sword. So I put something on social media and I thought I'll just cop the backlash here, and how can I do it smarter? And luckily it turns out that we didn't know about it, the staff did, but they did the right thing by referring it through to the did the right thing by advising the applicant, which is under the EPC Act. The applicant's got to be actually the referral agency is the actual applicant. So it's yes, it missed. The reason I've brought this up for tonight is because it's the investigation, and it is an urgent investigation, because how many more of these roost sites are going to go? Because this particular area through Southern River is getting sparser and sparser. And there seems to be no control on the habitat that we're actually keeping for cockatoos. Now, some people out there will say to me, well, why am I being biased for cockatoos? There are other critters out there as well. But I make it very, very clear, without the cockatoos, you won't have a lot of food sources for other animals and wildlife, because the cockatoos are a very messy bird, as you know, that they eat. They drop a lot of seed pods and they drop a lot of stuff on the ground. And this actually encourages other birds and other wildlife to go out and actually eat these seed pods and stuff. So to see this particular roost site be destroyed as it has, and not having the ability to stop that, and actually it's going to be affecting, I think it's 12 Carnabies that we're going to release shortly, has hit home, and it's hurt. And I've been listening to the members of the public come in here the last few meetings and talking about the tree canopy and that, and I personally don't think it's actually enough. It's we as an organisation have been working on my other hat. I'll make that very clear. We've been looking at hitting council, not hitting council, but speaking of council, working with council actually to increase the tree canopy, and also the how we're going to actually save trees. I'd like to ask for a further.
Yes, I'm going to move it for a further 5 minutes. Thank you, Councillor Williamson. Seconded by Councillor Good. And can we please vote on giving Councillor Dewhurst another 5 minutes? Thank you.
Thank you. I shouldn't need 5 minutes. So it's very interesting to see what other councils are doing, and Netherlands, is Netherlands tonight? Yeah. Netherlands is doing, and it'll be interesting to see how that comes and how the local law comes. But I'm sorry, councillors, I'll just give notification now that I'm not going to wait for the outcome of what state's going to do. I'll be bringing either a notification or a motion. I'm not sure how I'm going to go about it just yet, but we've got certain outcomes that we want as an organisation to protect canopy and to protect the black cockatoos, which also protects the other critters as well, coming very shortly. And we weren't going to do that until later on, but I think it's very prominent now that we've lost this roost site that we actually do this. And this investigation will hopefully assist us in how we can refer these things to the EPCA. So just, and I'm going to just talk about 90%, I'm pretty sure I'm right on this at 90%, but the 3 species of cockatoos, West Australia, being the Nassau, Borden and Carnaby cockatoos, are threatened, which I know they are, it's 100%. One's extremely threatened species, and so that becomes under the EPC Act as a significant environmental impact or species that can be referred. And I think as a council that we could actually refer to EPCA. I'm not sure how we go about doing that, but and I may be wrong, but at least start the conversation and to work quickly to hopefully save there's some other significant roost sites down that way as well, to make sure that these birds and these sites are actually going to be protected, or at least referred to the federal government now under the EPC Act. And the federal government makes around the EPC Act, the minister can't actually, if the state or a local government makes a decision, unless it's actually a significant environmental impact on a threatened species, can't intervene, but these 3 species are in that category. So we can actually ask the minister to intervene, but I like to do it before and not after the actual thing that's happening. So councillors, I'd ask you to support the urgent motion. We do need to protect our wildlife. We do need to protect our flora and fauna and even our fungi, and it's extremely important. But one thing I make very, very clear in this: if you protect the cockatoos, you actually will protect all the other critters running around as well. Thank you very much, councillors.
Thank you, Councillor Dewhurst. Deputy, who is a seconder on that item? Councillor Williamson, did you want to speak next? Councillor Deputy Mayor Hort, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Dewhurst, for raising this. I think it's a really important piece of business, and I'm in full support, and thanks for the preamble as well. From my perspective, not being an expert in this area, and certainly not an expert in planning either, for me, I just want to, like when the report comes to workshop, I really want to understand practically what we can do and how we can equip residents in the community to do something about this. It shouldn't have to wait for a roost to be destroyed, and it shouldn't have to rely on a councillor to bring it to a council meeting. There's got to be a better way for members of our community to raise these issues so it never becomes a problem in the first place. Almost like a whistleblower kind of scenario where you can see a bulldozer heading towards what is a roost. There's got to be someone, the EPA or some other kind of organisation, again, I'm not an expert, that we can refer people to, because this is not the right way to do it every time something like this comes up, which hopefully it never happens again. So yeah, I'm really interested in those practical elements in that workshop as well. I'll certainly be asking questions along that line when we meet to discuss this investigation. But fully in support, and thank you, Councillor Dewhurst.
Just for the purposes of the gallery, I'll just read out what you're actually asking for, which is the staff recommendation, that Council requests the Chief Executive Officer to undertake an urgent review of the facts surrounding the removal of the black cockatoo roost site at the corner of Leslie and Madison Street in Southern River, with the outcome of the review to be considered a future councillor workshop to determine what advocacy can be undertaken to better protect the habitat of native fauna. So just for the people in the gallery that had the questions earlier, I thought that might be relevant to let them know what that item was. Councillor Dewhurst, did you have a question, or will you be closing? Just see if there's anyone else that had anything to say on this item. Councillor Dewhurst, if you'd like to close, thank you.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Now, I'd just like to close in that this particular roost site we've been monitoring for a fair while. As I said, it was a 365-day roost site of cockatoos coming through there. It's been reported to us that the cockatoos that come back that evening after all those trees were down literally had nowhere to go. Now, people will say, oh, there's other tree over there, they can just go sit over there, or they can go and sit over there. It doesn't work that way. They know that they've got to come back to this particular roost site, and they're going to be staying here for a certain amount of time, and when the boss says pull up stumps, they pull up stumps and they go somewhere else. It's all planned, it's all part of their, what I call their psyche. So, but what the this really sad thing about this, apart from losing the roost side, is that we don't know where these birds are gone. We've been hunting them over the weekend, We've been looking for them over the weekend, and we can't find them. We don't know where they are. We do know one of the Carnaby cockatoos has a leg band on it, so we know it's a released bird, but we can't find. The reason we don't know that these birds are where they are because we can't find that Carnaby cockatoo. So what will be the outcome of these birds? They will go find somewhere else to go, but in the meantime, for the disruption that cause, they could become injured, go into areas where they shouldn't be going, or eating stuff they shouldn't be eating, like green almonds and stuff like that. And will we see them come up to the centre? We don't know, but anyway. So councillors, it is important that we do support this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dewhurst. Councillors, will you please cast your vote on this item? Thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. There is no confidential matters, and I declare the meeting closed at 8:27. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen in the gallery. Thank you.